Power, protocol, and political symbolism inside a telling conversation. Welcome to Niger Media Connect, where we break down power, politics, and the signals behind today's biggest conversations. Before we dive in, please subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our exclusive reports. Today's story focuses on power, protocol, and the political symbolism behind a revealing chart involving Napoleon Otache, Peter Aka, and Dominic Alachai. In a conversation that is drawing quiet but intense attention, political observers are dissecting the deeper meaning behind a chart involving Napoleon Otache, Peter Aka, and Dominic Alachai. Beyond the words exchanged, the setting, tone, and protocol followed have sparked debate about hierarchy, influence, and emerging alliances. Sources close to the discussion say the interaction was less about pleasantries and more about positioning: who commands respect, who seeks relevance, and who is shaping narratives behind the scenes. In Nigerian politics, symbolism often speaks louder than statements, and every gesture sends a message to allies and rivals alike. Analysts believe this moment reflects shifting power dynamics and a careful balancing of loyalty, ambition, and public perception. Stay tuned as we unpack what this could mean for the political landscape.
Now I'm being joined here on Perspectives by Peter Aka, a social critic and human rights advocate, followed by Dr. Dominic Alachai, Chairman, Northern Ethnic Nationalities Forum, and last but certainly not the least, Napoleon Otache, who is Zone C legal advisor for All Progressive Congress in Benue State, constituency of Benue State. I'm super delighted to have all of you here together with me on Perspectives this morning. So let's start with you, Peter. Now, as I told you from the very top, that drama that played out in Ile-Ife, before I get to you, Peter, that drama that played out in Ile-Ife, Oyo State, which was primarily engineered by Senator Remi Tinubu, the wife of Nigeria's president, has been a major issue of public discourse in the course of this week. Let's take a minute to take a look and be right back.
Mo fi yin bàbá èmi nìkan ló yẹ ìwọ lọ́lọ́run mi ìwọ ẹlẹ́dàá mi ọba àwọn ọba olúwa olúwa ọba títí láyé kò lè yí padà bẹ́ẹ̀ni kò ní bẹ́ẹ̀ kò gbọ́dọ̀ kó wà. máa jẹ ní 5 minutes orí tó báyìí. Títí ayé. protocol. Okay.
Okay, that was actually in Osun State, not Oyo State, point of correction. Yeah. And we're still expecting Mr. Napoleon Otache, but let's start with you first. Now, you saw what happened, and it has ignited so much reaction. Yeah. Do you understand? And but do you think the criticism that the First Lady has received so far was proportionate?
Thank you very much for having me, and compliments of the season to you and Perspectives. I think at the end of the Tinubu administration, every Nigerian deserves to be given a certificate of survival and endurance, because we are going through a lot, and my thoughts and prayers are with all of Nigerians. Electing President Tinubu as president was like going for a November Black Friday purchase with a condition that you buy one, you get 3 free. So you get the father as president who is dishing out incompetent leadership, insecurities ravaging the country, battered economy, money, corruption is in high heavens. Then you have the office of the first son, moving with security that, according to Professor Wole Soyinka, should be able to quell tensions in a country like Benin Republic. Then you have the office of the first daughter, who can travel to a state like Benin to prevail on the monarch, to decide who she wants to be installed as Babaloja or Yaloja. And then you have the office of the wife of the president, where we can budget 1.5 billion to purchase of SUVs in the office of the president. So across board, it is a tale of recklessness, and it is what public office has become. The incident in Osun State, as regrettable and as unfortunate as it is, only goes to spell how politics and public office lack the ethics and decorum that should go or guide leaders. Let us zoom out for a moment and imagine for a second that we replace this video with a clip of the wife of the US president and probably the governor of the US state of California, and imagine what will likely be the probable conduct. The first question will be, what constitutional law or what law establishes the office of the first lady? The governor was the chief host of that event. He is in his state. He has his pattern of communicating with his people. Do we agree or we may not agree? It's a different conversation. But two things stand out for me. What was the need for that event? It goes to show you that it was the 10-year coronation of the leader, and we are in this period where more than 100 of our children from Niger State are still with terrorists, and the NSA said they are being well taken care of. So in Nigeria, leaders can feast even when the people are being slain to death.
So you reckon that the coronation itself was insensitive?
I mean, you could have scaled it down. It were possible that leaders will look at the, tempo in the country and say, look, for some time, let us also go with the mood of the people. But then again, we went into festivities and feasting, and then the first lady would decide to do it. But for the first lady, I think that she's consistent with her actions. Remember the Senate committee hearing on the questioning of Senator Elisha Abu when she was in the National Assembly. She was telling the then senator that he should put off his mic, and also that they had the capacity to suspend. She will have to be prevailed upon by the senator seated next to her, Senator Samigu, and the other senator. So, I mean, there is a track record of telling people to turn off their mics for her own to come up. And then you can also remember the case of Senator Smart Adeyemi speaking about insecurity, and the wife of the president says that, are you a wolf in sheep clothing, trying to send a message that, they were in one party, and probably that should not be the communication. So, it begs the question, what exactly do we stand for as a people? And then again, that the wife of the president is supposed to be a pastor with the Redeemed Christian Church of God. And there you had the governor singing a song that is Christian and praising God, and she had an issue with it. Maybe he would have sang at Nawa Mama Be That, they no get another one. Maybe that would have worked.
But do you think that she was also conscious of timing, and that was probably why she came across as a bit harsh?
Timing. I mean, she could have, an aide could have said that. What was the time she used with all of the protocol that they came and every of the other issues or, persons that were, spoken to or spoke at that event? It was the time of the governor allocated to him. As the chief host, he will connect with his people and pass his message. And when you see people show that level of, power or without restraint, it goes to tell you a deeper picture between the governor and the first lady. The governor was speaking, it was his time. And then the first lady saw that or felt that it was imperative for her to leave her seat and prevail on him.
But do you think there was also familiarity between them, and for her, she didn't think that she was stepping or crossing the boundaries because this was a person that she is quite familiar with? Okay,
if it was familiarity, maybe when they have a family meeting or a meeting amongst peers, then that can come to play. But when you have a function where there is media, where there are people and there is protocol, I think that it is more important the way leaders conduct themselves, because they know that persons are watching, and it sets the tone for how persons take leadership in public office seriously. When a governor is speaking, or when any leader at all is speaking, everyone will accord them the respect. If you know that you had a way or manner, a template with which you wanted the event to play out, it could have been discussed before that, not at that point. So across board, I think it's just a tale of recklessness. It's just the level of lack of decorum and ethics that come with public office in Nigeria, that anybody can do anything. Anybody can. You remember the case of the hearing even at the Senate at some point, Honorable Minister, off your mic. So this thing is across board. The question is, for how long will Nigeria continue with this pattern of leadership until they know that this is an affliction to be liberated from?
Okay, thank you so much for that. Can we have Dominic in the house, please? Okay, Dominic, welcome.
Yeah, I'm here.
Welcome to Perspectives. Okay, let me ask you. You just heard
thank you.
What Peter Aka just said so adamantly. So I want to ask you, when a non-elected figure publicly intervenes with an elected governor, What does this tell us about power dynamics and the limits of influence in Nigeria's political system?
All right, thank you so very much. Let me start by saying that whatever I'm going to say here, I'm not trying to justify the action of the First Lady, in that very occasion. But my understanding of that particular program, the 10th year coronation, either anniversary or whatever, and then in that program also is slotted an award or a chieftaincy title conferment on the First Lady. So the way I look at it, I see it as, partly her program. And like you rightly said, something would have informed that familiarity. She is familiar with the governor. I believe they are also family friends and stuff like that. That was why she could, intervene, perhaps to draw his attention to the fact that time is going, because you know that when personalities like this gather, there are a lot of programs that is scheduled for them to attend, for them to carry out and stuff like that. But then I believe that there was a breach of protocol there, which for me, it is not proper. She couldn't have, she shouldn't have, interrupted, the governor, or she would have scribbled a note to him, in a very polite way to draw his attention to the fact that time is going. But again, let's not, throw away the baby with the dirty water, because the office of the First Lady, you are very much aware, they have been very, very, instrumental and, engaging in terms of, certain empowerment, for example, certain empowerment and interventions for women way back from the time of, the wife of the late wife of the wife of the former military president Ibrahim Babangida, down to Abacha, down to Olusegun Obasanjo, to Yar'Adua, and to Jonathan, and most recently to President Muhammadu Buhari. There has been a lot of intervention that office have been able, to provide to Nigerian women by way of providing succor to them. The national hospital we have today is as a result of the initiative of either the wife of the First Lady, the wife of the Babangida or Abacha, that it came about. And we, subsequently we see a lot of intervention coming from, that office, even though it is not an elective office, it is not constitutional. But then I believe that we should not just throw, that away with the bathing water because of, the overriding influence that some of. Look, let me tell you. You see, I agree with Peter Oka that there is need for Nigerians to rise in order to begin to interrogate our leaders. The truth of the matter is that we have not come to a situation where democracy will be practiced in Nigeria. What we have today in Nigeria is a state-captured kind of democracy. When you go to the local government, see the attitude of our local government chairman. When you go to the senatorial or House of Representative constituency, look at their attitude. Come to the state governors, it's even unbearing. So what I am saying is that there is need for us Nigerians to begin to interrogate the leadership, their attitude, their influence over and above, institution and the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you.
So what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to justify her action. I'm not trying to say she was right, but the truth of the matter is that there is this kind of familiarity that, she deploy into it, which couldn't have. She would have scribbled a note, to pass across to him to draw his attention if time was not, if he was consuming too much of the time.